woman?
It's Mal.
Mal?
It's not folk.
Mal Wolfolk. It's caught in the Matrix. We might need you to call back,
That's all
Mal.
right.
Well, say that again.
I'll make my voice deeper.
No, we need you to walk close to the window, lift up one
All right.
leg, put on tint. No, I'm just playing. We need you to probably call back, Mal, because we have a bad connection from you right
Yeah, very
now.
strange sound. Call
So
us
why
right
don't you
back.
call us right back?
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about a couple of these in the state legislatures all across the country. We have there was one instance where I don't know, there's a state legislature, I forget, in Oklahoma or somewhere, and they called them. This was I saw this on Hardball yesterday,
Mm.
and it was just one of the little side elements. But this guy was talking about a measure. He said this is a pro-business measure. You could have small businesses doing this, and what would happen? And he's describing the measure. Then he says what would happen is that your business would do so well that people would actually want to come and patronize your business, and you wouldn't have to worry about people jewing you down. And then
Whoa, yeah, I heard that.
so he goes on to say, and this is a rather, let's say, a gentleman of European descent.
Uh,
Let's be political, okay? Politically correct. So he's somebody pulls his coat next to him, the guy next to him, and says that
do you
let
realize
him
what
know
you
what you
said?
said. He said, "Oh, what? I'm sorry, sir. Oh, and I apologize to the Jews."
Uh,
And the way he said it was like, "Oh, why? Who would have a problem with that?" But see, this mentality
yeah.
is the mentality that gets people that are citizens of the United States, the mentality gets people that are citizens here that might be of different backgrounds and ethnic cultures to get mad because you have people walking around thinking it's their right to insult
Yeah.
people
Mm-hmm.
because they're exercising what they call freedom of speech. Freedom of speech works two ways. You got the freedom not to insult people too, and not to try and rile people up or say things that's going to be hateful to people. So we got Mal. I think this is Mal again trying to
We're
back.
going to try
Let's see.
Mal. Mal, are you on?
It is. Is this better? I hope.
Oh
Yes,
yeah, you're
this
out the
is better.
matrix.
Yeah, you're out of the Matrix.
Okay.
The truth about the
But
Matrix.
how are you doing this evening?
We're doing fine. We're doing fine. We miss you in here, but we can continue on right where you are. You're in South Jersey
Okay.
anyway, and that's quite a trek. But Mal, you know one thing?
Why don't we get
Go
Mal in
ahead.
on this
Yeah,
discussion
let's
a little
get you
bit?
in
Mal,
on
I
this
don't know if you
discussion.
were listening to my rant about certain individuals in the United States want to exercise their right of free speech to insult people, basically. And I
Mhm.
talked about a guy out of one of our state legislatures across the country, Caucasian gentleman, was describing something, and
Talk
he
about a
said,
ding dong.
people won't try and Jew you down.
That's
And when
exactly
somebody
what he
pulled his
said.
coat about what he said, he kind of was like, "Oh, okay, sorry, I apologize to the Jews, although they're probably good businessmen."
Yeah.
And the arrogance with which this gentleman said it, and like it wasn't like I say that all the time. So why? What, they're being a little bit touchy.
One insult on another,
So
top of another.
that's what I was just ranting on because it's just like you had this other congressman weeks ago talking about we used to hire wetbacks all the time.
Yeah.
And these are people who are elected to office. So I don't know what's scarier, that they're holding office or they represent a constituency of people
And that they
elect them
have
to
guns.
office.
That's
So
a serious thing too.
so what do you think about that, Mal? Before we get into what you want to talk about, we're gonna talk about what I want to talk about.
Well, what I think is I'm a big fan of civilization,
Uh huh.
and for me, civilization, amongst other things, is political, socioeconomic, and socio-religious responsibility to the highest known level. So which means that people who assume public office,
Wow.
or actually private office, for that matter, in
Now-
any society or culture.
Mal, we have to find out if we are on speaker
Are you
or
on a speaker or a cell phone?
I'm on a cell phone.
Okay.
That's a
We're
problem
having a
because
little bit of feedback, but go ahead. Go ahead. I think
You
We
get
can-
feedback?
yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Lots.
that's good. Wherever you are right now, stop. Stop where you are. Speak from that
Is
position.
this better?
Yeah, that's a little bit better. You might have shifted your weight, but you know how cell phones are. Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. Yes, I had it on speaker, so I wouldn't have to, hold it up the whole time. But it's people that hold, I think, public or private office, which means whether they're an elected official, appointed official, or a corporate official, in any society, I think should be held to the highest standard available, known to mankind, if you will.
Hmm.
And all that other private stuff, when they just represent themselves, personally, then they can sit in their backyard by the barbecue and say whatever they want. As soon as they step out on the street and represent a community or a corporation, a business, or a state that represents other people, then their conduct needs to be held to the highest standard because they, in fact, have the public trust of all of those people they represent.
Yeah,
And they don't have the right to put forth any private position that isn't sensitive and conscious and correct politically.
But apparently, some of these people, and we're going to need to go to a break right after this comment that I'm making. Maybe you can call back on a landline. That seems to be the best way, Mal, if you have one available. If not, we'll just deal with it. But apparently, it seems that some of these people are elected by a whole bunch of people who think that that's okay. That's what scares me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I used to talk to my uncle about being in the House of Representatives and seeing some of the things that some of those other members, like the guy who called the President of the United States a liar in the State of the Union speech.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, he represents a whole constituent of people that when he got back to his district, they were like, wow, you sure told him, Jeb Bob, or whatever his name was. So, as opposed to me, who would have been sitting across the aisle making the faces at him like you do when it's 3 o'clock highlight.
Put your fist up to your
like,
mouth.
No, and I'm with you 100%, and I'm saying that I understand he may come from a constituency of people as ignorant as he, but once he finds himself in a society that is larger than those ignorant folks, then you're right, he should be censured by the larger body
of
which he is a part.
Of course.
He owes them that respect. Once he says he's a congressman or a senator, assemblyman, you pick the title, and you are in a body of people with similar titles, then anything you do is going to, on some level impact on them.
Right.
And they should ask you to leave.
That's right. They should hold him accountable. They should help. Yeah.
And skip the free speech part. That part. Every in the history of mankind, there have always been formal protocols.
Right.
That distinguish conduct from uptown or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's no different now. There are things that are appropriate in different places, and whatever the international standard is for conduct that's in all world governments or most world governments and the United Nations and all these other multicultural forums, then that should be the standard that people are held to in Congress or any place else. To me, that's just my one opinion.
And they should hold each other to that standard. I mean, I think they did say something to that particular. Joe Wilson is his name. I know his name. But I think they did say something to him. But,
are they going to censure him in any way?
Well, this is years ago, so who knows whether they did. But sometimes, when people know they're going to get chin checks, like back in the old days, I understand, they used to be throwing down in the cloakroom in the House of Representatives. You hear instances, you read instances of some members, and this is like, the 1700s or whenever, beating another dude with it. I heard of one instance where one member beat another guy with his cane because he was so upset.
I was going to say that. That's right. You get an immediate consequence.
You know what I'm saying? And at least he know when he saw you not to use that kind of language. Now, when he got home around that other meeting that he wants to go to, then that's all good. But when you see me walking in the hallway, you're gonna have to straighten up a little bit. And also too, it is like you said, tantamount that other individuals in those bodies call for those people to hold a certain amount of respect. And we're gonna have to go to a break now.
We do have
hold
to go
on,
for
Mal.
break.
We're gonna go for a break for a quick sec.
Okay, we'll be right back, everyone. Kae Thompson Live, Kae Thompson and Eric Payne. We'll be right back.
Hey, Go Protos! If you're in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, aka Tri-State area, you're in the perfect spot to join a fast-growing community of energetic, political, creative, and eco-conscious activists focused on real climate change and environmental awareness. Now it's time to bring the fight to the airwaves. So we're calling all musicians, students, professionals, and earth lovers to get down with Eco-Socialist Horizons on the GoPro Radio Network and help tackle the greatest challenge humanity has ever faced. If you're interested in getting involved, and there are many ways that you can both on and off the air, email us at ecohorizon@goproradio.com. That's Eco-Socialist Horizons with Joel Cavell and Quincy Saul, only on the GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head. www.goproradio.com.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
And we're back. We wanted to let people know that, You can watch us live at GoProRadio.com and click on Watch Live next to Kae Thompson Live. So you can go to GoProRadio.com and click on Kae Thompson Live and click on Watch Live, and you can watch us live. Also, today's show is sponsored, as always, by Disappearing Voices, The Decline of Black Radio.
Yeah. And that's an excellent documentary, by the way.
It is.
You know,
not just because you're in it, Mom, but it
No,
is an excellent.
I know.
Because, you know, for those of us who grew up listening to
Listen,
Black
I do
radio.
add to it, even though I may only have
Yeah.
about 2 sentences. Thanks, Tom.
I mean, those of us who grew up listening Black radio,
Yeah.
when you were on, I
Yeah.
got exposed to it. And even before that, BGO and things like that. I never realized, as Ty and everybody pointed out in that documentary, really the decline of Black radio
Yeah.
and, you know, the exchange of ideas in the Black community. So what we want to do is, if we still have Mal, are you still there?
Mal, are you still there?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
I am.
Now you and my mom want to
Yeah.
get into this program that you're involved in.
Right. We want to tell people about this, Mal, because you were telling me about it is really important. Now, this is your organization, your company, the Global Trade and Technology Center. Now, you have the Customs Broker License Examination Preparation course. And it's being offered at a college of aeronautics and technology in their adult and continuing education program. Now, the Global Trade and Technology Center is interested in veterans returning from Iraq and Afghanistan who worked at logistics and freight forwarding in the airports of supplies and equipment to offer this customs broker class to these veterans with a minimum reading and mathematics score of 10th grade with no criminal record. Now, this is fantastic. You've got to tell us all about it. Do we have time? Yes.
Okay. Well, you just said it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
We're in the process of working with private corporations and private and public universities to create courses that'll help veterans from the last, you know, as far back as they are.
Yeah.
It could be from the Gulf War. It could be from, you know, service along the way in Okinawa, Germany, wherever they were. But folks who were in this case were involved in moving all of the products, you know, food and clothes and medical equipment around the world.
Yeah.
Have prior experience that with a civilian test over a 20-week course will prepare them for entry-level jobs paying $60,000.
Whoa.
And then with some other credentials, they can take up to some of the folks in the past have come out and we've been able to put them right into a $60,000 job, and within 3 years, been able to move up to $125,000 customs broker.
Say that again. 100 and what? 100 and what?
25,000.
Wow. $125,000 they can move up to.
Yeah.
Now,
And
how does this work? I mean, how does that? They're going to be trained in what? And who pays for it?
They're going to be trained in freight forwarding first, which is the first level of transportation administration, and then they can move up to customs brokering.
And this is at the airports.
This will be, well, it's at the airports, it's at the seaports, and it's in offices across the country, be they public, like the Customs and Immigration Service,
Yeah.
or be they private, like FedEx and UPS and DHL and all the folks that move, and all of the shipping companies that move things in and out, you know, internationally and so on. So there are plenty of jobs in public and private service.
Now, especially when
At Vaughn College.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now, also, you're saying this because of recognizing the growth in career opportunities in the export and import trade industries in new and emerging markets through the Port Authority, the Port of New York and New Jersey. Now, this is the third highest volume port of entry in the United States and the 16th in the world. So
Right.
now, who is sponsoring this? And when the courses are given and the veterans come to enroll, generally they don't have much money. So what has to happen here?
Well, some do, some don't, you know, for various reasons. But these courses are paid for
Whoa.
by public-private financing. There are 200 on this first project. There are 200 opportunities, 200 slots for 200 students to take this course now. In October, there'll be another 200 slots,
Wow.
and they'll be fully subsidized scholarships, if you will. And as long as people participate for the full 20-week course, then their scholarship will be paid.
Now, let me get this straight. This is free. Free scholarships. Am I right?
Right. 200 scholarships will be awarded. Folks have to come fill out the applications. If they meet the criteria, they get full scholarships for the whole 20-week course.
And then they become what? Working in customs?
They take the test. They become freight forwarders.
What does that mean?
And that means that they manage the paperwork for all kinds of things being shipped back and forth.
I see.
In the country, out of the country, and everything else. You know, if you had to move your household stuff, for instance.
Yeah.
And well, I can't mention anybody, but the movers come in the big truck and they pack all your stuff up. Right? Somebody provides the inventory. Somebody makes sure it's all there. Somebody handles all your paperwork with the insurance. Somebody handles all your paperwork with whatever authorities there may be to make sure you're not shipping anything interstate that is hazardous or dangerous or against the law. You know, the family's gun collection or whatever. So all of that paperwork has to be reviewed, and it all has to be consistent with the regulations of the jurisdictions that it may either go to or pass through. So freight forwarders, all the way up to customs brokers, they oversee that. They oversee that all the paperwork is legal, that it's in full compliance with municipal, state, federal, and international laws. If you were picking up and moving your household things, or you were moving your factory to Mexico.
So this is what they're going to be. This is what they're going to be trained in and as, and this is available at several airports. Mal, what kind of qualifications does someone have to have?
Well, you mentioned it earlier, but they need to have at least a 10th grade reading level, because there is some
reading necessary.
Degree of understanding. I beg your pardon?
I'm just joking. You were saying there's some reading necessary, so.
Oh no! Yeah, no. There's a lot of reading necessary, and of course a lot of comprehension.
This sounds exciting, by the way. Yeah.
So this is at Vaughan College, and it's a pilot project. But again, the major corporations are behind this: FedEx, UPS, DHL, who employ a lot of people. The Port Authority is in support.
And this is your center. Let's get this straight. This is your center that you're involved with. You're the executive vice president. And this is the Global Trade and Technology Center. This is very exciting, Mal. Also, now, if you are going through a college and they want to offer all this to the veterans, as well as unemployed and underemployed adults. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yes, it's not exclusively for veterans. That's true. Just that,
Yeah. And the examination, when it gets to that particular point, is administered by the United States Department of Homeland Security, Bureau of Customs and Border Protection on the first Monday in April and October. We'll learn those dates later. But this is extremely interesting and very, very, quite an opportunity for the veterans.
The biggest question is, how can people take advantage of this? How can they get in contact to join the program or take the necessary courses?
What's the first step, in other words?
First step, I'll get my number out.
Yes.
And that is 732 685 43 80.
Okay, let me just do this again. 732.
Let me give a second number.
Okay, but wait a minute. 732 685 4380. Now that's the first number for people to call. Now you have a second number?
Yes, I do. And that is 212 831
0900. That second number, everyone, that's a New York number, I'm assuming, right? 212-831-0900. 212-831-0900. Also, 732-685-4380. 732-685-4380. 4380. This is very, very interesting.
Really good opportunities there for people to take
career
advantage of it.
opportunities
Career
now
opportunities,
in the export and import trade industry in new and emerging markets through the port of New York and New Jersey.
So if you're, as Mal said, if you're a vet and you've been involved and you know about travel and moving, things back and forth across overseas and things like that, and shipping, this might be a job that would be tailor-made. Not tailor-made, but you might have the right qualifications. For a job in this field. So we want to encourage you to take advantage of that. And if you know some friends, if not, you can still take advantage of it. And if you have some friends that are looking for employment or that might be returning vets, please pass on the information.
What an opportunity. What an opportunity. Your organization, your business is to be congratulated, Mal. So glad you're on board with us here.
Well, thank you very much. And let me say this as well. This is, again, a pilot project supported by companies like FedEx and UPS. And
UPS?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And the Veterans Administration. Uh-huh. And the State Department. Yeah. And you have down here that this customs broker class will teach the license requirements for the Bureau of Customs and Border Protection's examination to determine their knowledge of customs and related laws, regulations, procedures, bookkeeping, accounting, and other appropriate matters. So they're going to get this full information, these full courses.
Right.
This really, I'm impressed with this.
Taught a new career. Learn a new career. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, and also now let's go to the salary. That once you go through the class, and it's only 20 weeks.
Right.
Okay. And once they go through it, now also we should say that the customs broker license is issued to the candidates who pass the written examination on an FBI background check on their 21st birthday and older. And after passing the examination, the candidate has 3 years to apply for their license.
Right.
And then the Bureau of Customs and Border Protection will hold a candidate's license for 3 years until their 21st birthday.
Right.
Now, you can't get any better than that.
So if you're younger, underage, you can take advantage of this opportunity.
Right.
Don't forget, you can listen to it now and pass on the information, or you can go to GoProRadio.com.
Yeah, we'll always have it on
and listen
there.
to archive shows for today's date. I guess it's the 23rd?
The 24th.
Today's the 24th.
Yeah, Pat's birthday.
On Pat's birthday.
Right.
Or late on Pat.
And don't forget the starting salary, Eric. Over 100,000.
Starting salaries, you're going to get paid. It's employment. People ain't working in America now. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Go get your employment, get your necessary training.
Over 100,000
You might be sitting
a year?
next to me there in the course.
Shoot,
I'll be shipping stuff overseas.
And excuse me, may I add one more thing?
Of course.
That because FedEx and UPS and companies like that and the State Department and the Veterans Administration is supporting this, if anyone is listening that's affiliated with an institution, a learning institution, college, private, public, whatever, junior or full, who would like to have these programs and they're part of the world, give us a call. And we'll work with the Veterans Administration, FedEx, UPS, et cetera, to create some sponsorships in your area for, perhaps another 200 folks a couple times a year to take the training as well.
Mm-hmm. Anything that we can do to help the veterans, we are for. So that number, everybody, if you're listening, take this number down. You're going to find that you're going to know veterans. And when you do, to have this information for them, because it is free. And they'll have to find out everything. And you come out with a new career. You'll be making $100,000. That's nothing to sneeze at, okay? Now, the number for you to call, once again, is 732-685-4380. 732-685-4380. 80 rather. Now, the other number, 212-831-0900. Again, 212-831-0900. And if you forget any of this, go on the Facebook or go to our website.
You can re-listen to the show, GoPro Radio Network. It's about time for us to take another break.
Yeah.
Mal, if you hold on for a second, we'll be right back.
Stay with us, everyone. And Kae Thompson and Eric Payne and Mal Woolfolk, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, GoProtos! If you're in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, AK Tri-State area, you're in the perfect spot to join a fast-growing community of energetic, political, creative, and eco-conscious activists focused on real climate change and environmental awareness. Now it's time to bring the fight to the airwaves. So we're calling all musicians, students, professionals, and earth lovers to get down with Eco-Socialist Horizons on the GoPro Radio Network and help tackle the greatest challenge humanity has ever faced. If you're interested in getting involved, and there are many ways that you can both on and off the air, email us at ecohorizon@goproradio.com. That's Eco-Socialist Horizons with Joel Cavell and Quincy Saul, only on the GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head. www.goproradio.com.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
I love this. The GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head in the galaxy. Are we in the galaxy already? Tell me. It's like a float. Oh my God.
Galaxy and beyond.
I'm telling you. What's the name of that galaxy thing we used to listen to years ago?
I don't know, Ma. Your years ago might be a little bit different than my years
much
ago.
about that. You didn't remember.
With all due respect.
No, it had to do with Spock.
Oh, Star Trek. Yes,
Sure,
yes,
Star Trek. You know, that stuff. Oh, speaking about Star Trek, let's talk about Matrix. Let's talk about the Terminator. By the way, that's
a segue for you, but
okay.
let's go.
All right, but we're
what I call a
now,
hard
hold
left.
on. It's a hard left. I was talking to Sophia last night,
Uh-huh.
and she's going to be doing an update in a couple of weeks or so for us. So she still has a fantastic story. Yes, she is the mother of the Matrix, and we're going to hang with this story, you know, and see where it leads us. And so
See how far down the rabbit hole it goes. And if you've seen The Matrix, you know what I'm talking about. You know that line. So, you know, you might have wanted to take the red pill or keep the blue pill. Or I forget which pill it was, but only the Matrix fans know what I'm talking about.
I tell you, boy, this is really something. Is Mal still on the phone? Mal, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, this sounds so great. As a matter of fact, talking about the airport. Now, last week we did have on Janice Holder, who is the owner of the EJE Retail. He owns, because of his uncle, Ed Holder.
Right.
Eddie really owned that.
Duty free.
And then he inherited from it. Duty free stores.
Right.
5 stores at Newark Airport he has.
And that's an impressive thing.
For and he knows of that customs program, by the way.
And yeah, you had mentioned the customs program. You know, now, Mal, now the sequestration is affecting airports. You know, today, I guess the furloughs went into effect yesterday, or they're starting to affect today in terms of airline travel. Long lines, waiting, delays in air travel. And it's just part of that budget deal that couldn't be reached in the House, and hopefully, you know, that won't affect these opportunities here that are becoming available for people, and by the time someone goes through this course, maybe some of that stuff will be worked out. I guess I'm trying to get you involved in the conversation and your thoughts about that.
Okay.
Step out on a limb.
What will happen for them whenever the sequester happens and whenever Congress does, thank goodness the things will be delayed, but they'll still have to be conducted. So Customs and Immigration will still be, filling out papers for folks, sending things by plane and by ship every day. There'll still have to be people checking the contents of all the containers that come in and all the, on plane and ship. DHL, FedEx, and UPS will still be shipping things for private and public and governmental agencies to conduct business. So no matter what Congress does, these other things will keep on going.
That's right.
The widening of the Panama Canal portends more jobs, and the impetus for this is that several years ago, the U.S. Commerce Department, based on all the activity in the New York metropolitan area that the New York and New Jersey Port Authority was doing, dredging the things and widening the ports and so on and so forth, they estimated that over the next, this is, I guess, 4 and a half, 5 years ago, they estimated that over the next 15 years, there would be the need for 200,000 additional jobs in the business we're talking about.
Wow.
Based on Mayor Bloomberg.
Wait a minute, you said
projections about opening reports in
200,000?
Brooklyn.
You said 200,000?
200,000.
Wow.
200,000.
So this is real
So-
serious opportunity for these people, who are veterans, really, and anybody
who
else.
are veterans, and as we mentioned, although we're trying to support veterans who fought for us,
Also
and
women, right?
protected our freedoms, etc. But sorry,
Also women veterans, right? Female.
women veterans too.
Okay.
Yeah, anybody who's veteran, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Terrific.
As
Just
a
wanna
matter
get
of
that
fact,
in.
I'll share this statistic with you as well. In terms of people who are in logistics, women were probably, out of every 10 people doing it, women were probably 7.
I know. Yeah.
So they will be the biggest beneficiaries of this
Mhm.
if they come and take these courses and get their civilian certification.
Yeah. Yeah. We should mention again the 200 free scholarships there, and there may be more. So
Right.
everybody
Well,
should really latch
yeah.
onto this. This is some terrific, information, right, Eric? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good, and it's really necessary for people to come on board and have these opportunities available to them. You kind of sidestepped my question there about the sequestration, what you think about that, Mal, but that's okay. I understand, brother.
Well, no, I'm willing. First time I do that, I parry. Next time, straight up. I of course, I think it's as ridiculous as the previous conversation about Congress, whatever its other interests are, and whoever their various constituencies are, allowing that to happen and paralyze the rest of America because 500 folks can't play well together.
Right.
Right. That's really
it would appear
not
that,
only
it would appear that 100 folks, not really the Congress, but it's the Senate, right? Is the one that likes to hold things up, and it's just I talked about some people getting disillusioned with the United States and the promises and all of the, United States of America has a great PR campaign. They put these images out about our country, and and if you live here, you might buy into some of those commercials you see and this and that, and then when you actually try to live, it's a little bit different than what you think. And some people, they get it. I talked about them getting disillusioned with that, perhaps not to the point where you want to blow people up. That's never the case. Obviously, very extreme, sick individuals that resort to that, or the same individuals that resort to bursting into movie theaters or going to schools and killing people and shooting people. But it all it kind of gets back to that, whether we're going to be a society that wants to be really truly concerned about each other and try to live in harmony, or whether we're going to be the type of society that kind of talks out of one side of our mouth and does another thing. And it seems like there are those of us that will want to talk out of both sides of our mouth, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, and beyond that, amongst the tragedies that manifest is some of the folks who are most well-to-do in this country, who are not tied to industries that are fully dependent and utilities, are taking their citizenship and going elsewhere, and they're millions of dollars.
Hey, we had a president.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Mal. I was just going to say we had a presidential candidate who had a Cayman Island offshore bank account and wanted to act like that was okay, and didn't want to have to answer the questions about it, and looked at people like they were crazy because they asked him about it. I mean, it's
Romney and our good lady congressman, who was a candidate too.
Oh yeah. Well,
it turns out had accounts and was looking at alternative citizenship as well. Almost like keep the motor running,
right?
In case I gotta get out in a hurry.
In case they got to get out of Dodge, in case people see through that the emperors actually have no clothes on, so to speak.
Yeah, and another disturbing statistic from the State Department is the number of people who are going to places and requesting, residential visas, permanent. Some people say the number's up around 750,000 to 1 million a year.
Are you serious? Good Lord.
When you say, well, I'm reading the message from Shauna that it's time for us to take one more break. So, Mal, we hope you're going to stick around for the rest of this conversation, and we'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely
Kae
will.
Thompson live.
Okay.
Hey, Go Protos! If you're in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, AK Tri-State area, you're in the perfect spot to join a fast-growing community of energetic, political, creative, and eco-conscious activists focused on real climate change and environmental awareness. Now it's time to bring the fight to the airwaves. So we're calling all musicians, students, professionals, and earth lovers to get down with Eco-Socialist Horizons on the GoPro Radio Network and help tackle the greatest challenge humanity has ever faced. If you're interested in getting involved, and there are many ways that you can both on and off the air, email us at ecohorizon@goproradio.com. That's Eco-Socialist Horizons with Joel Cavell and Quincy Saul, only on the GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head. www.goproradio.com.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
Now, do you hear that? Listen to the voices in your head. Today's Ty's birthday, Eric.
Oh, yes.
That's why he's
that's
listening
the
to
deep
voices in his
voice.
head.
Happy birthday, Tyler Washington.
Would you
Happy
like us to
birthday.
sing?
Made another year.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Always like to see a black man with a birthday. One more birthday. Hey, Mel, let me ask you while we have you on the line. Did you happen to see the speech or aware of the speech? I'm sure you probably are aware of Dr. Ben Carson when he spoke at the prayer breakfast that morning.
Yeah, what was that all about?
When he was disagreed or was talking about the healthcare system. And what strikes me in particular is that he talked about political correctness. He didn't want to be politically correct. And the gist of the speech was coddling some people. People need to work hard for what they get. And he felt that political correctness hampers us in this country of having real solid discussions. And I agree with Dr. Carson.
To an extent.
It does. Political correctness does keep us from having real hardcore discussions, like people who want to claim that the Confederate flag, showing that flag and putting it on a state building is part of their heritage. Political correctness is kind of like when people want to be polite. They don't want to say things because they're polite. I disagree with Dr. Carson. Sometimes you can be polite, but since you open up the can of worms, talk about political correctness, then let's talk about it. The Confederate flag is based on a heritage and a lifestyle that subjugated people to slavery.
Here.
So if you claim that as a part of your heritage, I think you need to find a new heritage to claim. That's not being politically correct. That's being blunt. And so when we talk about political correctness, maybe sometimes we're trying to be polite to people and say and find a very tactful way of saying certain things. But since certain people want to talk about, and he got applauded by the right for not wanting to be politically correct. So let's not be politically correct. Let's be bluntly honest. You know, when people talk about certain situations in the world and certain individuals look like a guy on CNN, a reporter on CNN, when they talked about the Boston bombings, he talked about a source that told him that there were two dark-skinned males. Well, lo and behold, of course, when they show the pictures, they're pretty far from dark-skinned males. Politically incorrect would say he just made a mistake. But since we don't have to be politically correct anymore, thanks to Dr. Carson and the right, then let's just say that maybe he was going back on some racist tendencies that he had, or some preconceived of notions of people who perpetuate those type of atrocities and try to stereotype some people. So I'm going off on a rant here, Mal and Mom.
That's okay,
to see what you guys think about this notion that Dr. Carson raised about
surprised about
political correctness.
I'm surprised about him. You know, I never thought that he would even, endorse this kind of way of talking. I mean, that's a long time ago. Those are attitudes and feelings that you if you're just up from the South. And enslaved people, you're going to have these kind of attitudes. Some of us.
Well,
not us. I can't put myself.
I don't know if you're
not going to be an
now.
Activist. That's for sure.
If you're still on, what your thoughts are, or if you remember that speech by him. Do we still have you?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
There is politically correct, but political correctness has a standard. all over, and people can get a local standard, a country standard, or a universal standard.
Mm-hmm.
But when folks go off and misspeak in a way that again is injurious on any international level, then they need to be, as far as I'm concerned, they need to be put back in their place.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And they need to be put back in their place, with prejudice, as they say. Prejudice meaning, with no uncertain terms and with full consensus of the body of people.
Mm-hmm.
Because all those years of having a Confederate flag or waving a Nazi flag or waving all those things that folks went into in extremes, trying to assign some, children of God status over the rest of the people. Well, clearly we tried that for 5,000 years, and that didn't make things better.
Right.
So anybody who hasn't gotten that to date, needs to be put on a boat and sent out to some island, because all of that divisive rhetoric has not improved anybody's plight anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't improved any economies. It hasn't improved any societies. And here's amongst other things, which is why, and you said, and it was quite correctly, there's 100 folks, and then there's another 500 folks in the House who should exert some pressure on those 100 folks.
Mm-hmm.
Because here we are in the U.S. in another universal plight, where we're ranking someplace between 25th and 53rd in the world in a whole lot of levels of science and education and so on and so forth, that then results in us issuing visas to other people who have the credentials to come here and run our community, societies, institutions, and corporations.
Exactly.
And folks are holding on to these old points of view and prejudices, as you said, Kay.
Mm-hmm.
Are they missing the fact that that's part of our undoing?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They're missing the fact on purpose.
Well, but they're bearing the consequences as well.
Exactly.
The consequences of them having those ideas and those issues and perpetuating them, and like you said, having constituencies that embrace those. The jobs that they lose in their communities, that their sons and daughters and whoever else don't get because people are brought in from around the country.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just, that's not happening someplace else.
Yeah.
That's
right
happening
here.
every place in the country. And the irony is that with all of the new companies and jobs that have moved into the southern states, right to work states and all that other stuff that's happened, very often the places that these sentiments come from bear the most consequences.
Right. And they're those are
dangerous people on a number of levels.
Right. And
so not only hurting the people they're trying to, sorry.
Well, it's like you were just going to say, they're hurting themselves. It's like when these individuals use the enthusiasm of people who were willing to join the Tea Party, and they used that enthusiasm to their advantage, and really didn't believe in a lot of those values that a lot of those Tea Party individuals had, as extreme or as kind of crazy as some of them were. But you had certain people in elected positions that just wanted to get out in front and try to control it and use that momentum to their benefit. And the whole thing is that a lot of the people that are the rank and file members of those movements, the so-called grassroots people, or the community organizers, we know they don't want to admit that they were community organizers because we know that's a bad thing to them, but that's probably what they were. They're the ones that end up, like you said, getting the shaft in the end, because the people that claim to be supportive of their points of view and their perspectives that happen to be on the higher end of the totem pole really aren't supportive of them, and they really don't care what those people are really concerned about.
We have about 2 minutes, and we're going to be ending. And Mal, listen, thank you very much. We'll be doing this again, so we're going to get more information about this job for the veterans at the airports, and we can give out that number once again, that number for you to call regarding the jobs at the airports for veterans, 200 free scholarships, and you can check it out, 732-685-4380, 732-685-4380. The other number is 212-831-0900. That's 212-831-0900. I'm Kae Thompson, and
I'm Eric Payne,
and this is Kae Thompson Live.
Kae Thompson Live,
and we have to raise some money for our show.
We're going to be talking. We need some support from our supporters out there. So we're going to be talking about that next week. How you can help us to stay on the air and continue to bring this show to you. Also, too, we need your response. We need your responses. And we're going to have a call from the Congressman Donald Payne tonight, but perhaps next week. I believe that he was, I know the last time I saw, he was on the floor, House of Representatives, speaking. The Congressional Black Caucus was speaking. So,
wow. Okay.
See you guys next week.
Okay.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.